Aaron, how long is an index lock last? And if it goes over at the lock, do you get the new rate? Good question. You're talking about Allianz's index lock that they have available. Allianz has two different ways you can lock your index. One is a manual lock. That means you can go and look at it, your policy on any given day, and you can just click the button, go through the steps, and lock in whatever the rate is at the end of that day. That's one way to do it. So in that case, it'll just lock it at whatever it's at. The second thing is what they just came out with. They just came out with an auto lock feature, which means you can go in ahead of time and just say, if it goes over this rate, lock it in. And if it ends the day above that, you're going to get it locked at whatever that rate is. At any time before it locks, you can take that off. You can undo it. If it locks and you don't want it to lock, like if you just go in and manually lock it, you can call them and have them undo it before the end of the business day. If it makes it to the end of the business day, you're out of luck. It's going to be locked, and it'll be locked whether it's an auto lock or a manual lock. It'll be locked until your next anniversary date. So whenever your policy renews, it's locked whether it goes up or down. So if you lock it at 10%, it goes up to 12% gain, you still are only going to get the 10% gain. But if it drops down to 5%, you still get the 10% gain. So you got to do it at a rate that you're happy with. I happen to have locked mine last week, 2 weeks ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I can't remember. I went in, I used the new feature, and it was at 12% and change. And I said, oh, you know what? I'm going to be pretty happy at 13%. So I'm locking it in. So I want to lock it in at 13%. If it goes over 13%, lock it for me. It was like the next day, it went over 13%. I actually got it locked at 13.58. That was what it ended the day at. So now I use Bloomberg and PIMCO, and I locked the PIMCO in at 13.58. My Bloomberg is still running. Bloomberg was only at like 3.5%. I didn't want to lock it in there. But because I borrow money out of my policy, by locking in that 13% rate, that guarantees me, because 50% of my portfolio is now locked, that guarantees me on my whole portfolio 6.75% interest rate. It would have been 6.5, but I got 13.58. So I actually got 6.74. 6.74 is what I'm guaranteed. That's if Bloomberg returns 0. So I'm letting that one run. I'm letting the Bloomberg one run. Hot flying. Good night. See you in the morning, man. So I'm letting my Bloomberg one run. And from the time I could have locked it, when I locked my other one, it was at 3.5. Now it went down to 2%. I still have like 4 months to go. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to see that go back up. I'm going to give it a chance. Meanwhile, I'm going to be fine even if it goes to 0 because I'm going to arbitrage. I'm getting more than it cost me to borrow my money out of the policy. And that's cool. So I'm happy with that. Way Out West says, thoughts on insurance policy laddering. I'm cool with it. I kind of do it with my own policies. It's not something you want to do. You don't want to just start policies all at once just because you want to ladder them. Like you're better off just doing one big policy. But there's nothing wrong with having different policies that mature at different times of the year. So I make sure that that's what I do with mine because I pay some of my policies in November. I pay some of them in February. I pay some in April. I have another one in September. So I've got mine kind of spread all over the place. So I can put money into one, pull money out of it, put money into the other ones when those ones come around. My main goal is maxing out on all my policies each year. I want to hit that MEC limit. So laddering works out really good for me. I have no issues with it. The main thing is you got to do it for the right reasons. And usually it's because you're just signing up for different policies at different times. You know, you might do one this year, do it in January. Next year, if you want to sign up for another policy, don't do it in January. Do it a little bit later. That way you have different renewal periods. Different times that you can put in your money. You just don't want everything to come due all at once on a bunch of different policies. I mean, you might be fine with that, but it might make it a little harder sometimes if you just don't have the liquidity available.
I hope you found value in today's video. If you'd like to find out more about IUL and whole life, check out these videos right over here, and we'll see you next time.
Now go maximize your cash flow.